Welcome to another edition of CCSD Living Environment. Today we're going to look at is the central dogma of molecular biology, or the central dogma of genetics. And the idea behind that is that molecular biology tries to explain living organisms by studying them at the molecular level using molecules like DNA and RNA. The central dogma of molecular biology is that information is transferred from DNA to RNA to protein. And I'm hoping at this point along the way, after everything that we've done, you have that down. The DNA gets transcribed to RNA, the RNA gets translated into the protein. The central dogma serves as a useful generalization that helps to explain how genes work. And it's a central dogma because this is true in every organism that exists. This is true for all life on Earth. DNA is transcribed to RNA, RNA is translated to a protein. That is true in every single situation. So let's take a look at that central dogma. In that central dogma, I have DNA that goes to RNA. The RNA goes to a protein. So the DNA undergoes transcription to give me RNA. I'm going from the language of nucleotides to the language of nucleotides. And then I'm going to go from the language of nucleotides to the language of amino acids in a protein. So transcription, where I'm going from DNA to RNA, occurs in the nucleus. That occurs in the nucleus because that's where the DNA is. That's why it takes place there. Translation, RNA to the protein. Protein synthesis, remember, occurs in a ribosome. I can find ribosomes in the cytoplasm. I can find them attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. So again, we're going from DNA to RNA to protein. That is the central dogma for genetics. Something that I put up here that I just want to make sure that you can see or that you make note of, if I go from DNA to DNA, that process is replication. That also occurs in the nucleus because that's where the DNA is. So we've mentioned it a few times, and let's define it now. Gene expression. The DNA carries information for specifying the traits of an organism. The cell uses the sequence of bases in DNA as a template for making RNA. The codons of mRNA specify the sequence of amino acids in a protein. The proteins then in turn play a key role in producing an organism's traits. The traits that we express are proteins. So the bottom line is, if we took the bone out, we would just be a big oozing bag of protein every place we went. From the components of your cell membranes, to antibodies, to hormones, to enzymes, to your muscle, to your hair, to your skin, to your fingernails, every single thing that's there, everything that makes you up is a protein. And now if you really want to kind of throw something into that, think about when we talked about the DNA, when we talked about the RNA, we said it was enzymes that made those things happen. Well, where did those enzymes come from? Those enzymes are proteins. So the DNA has the instructions to make those enzymes, and those are the enzymes then that turn around and either replicate the DNA or transcribe the DNA. So it all comes down to proteins. Proteins are such a huge, important part. And where do the instructions come from? The instructions come from your DNA. So one last thing to look at here, your DNA is what has the genes. That has the A, C, G, and T nucleotide language. The mRNA has the codons. That has the A, C, G, and U nucleotide language. Proteins are made of amino acids. Completely different language. So again, transcription from DNA to mRNA, translation from mRNA to the protein. Important to remember, mRNA is what we read in the genetic code. The tRNA is just there to carry the amino acids to the ribosomes. So if you're given a picture and asked to actually read and determine what amino acids are going to come in, Please make sure that you read the mRNA. The mRNA is what has the message. That's what's telling you what amino acid needs to go in the next place in that protein. That wraps up the central dogma. That wraps up most of modern genetics for us. I hope you've learned something from these videos. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.